What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing our Houston Texans 2025 NFL mock draft. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Below my face is my board. It is not predictive. It is the players that I love the most. I back it up with all 22 clips over on X, so feel free to go follow me over there. But let's get into this. We are getting all of these done within the next 2 days, so I'm super excited for that. I gave you guys a promise. I'm living up to it, and honestly, this series doesn't really perform that well, but I know that you guys appreciate it. So you guys have been supporting me like crazy recently. I'm willing to take a dollar hit to be able to give you guys the content you want. So, again, you could always do like a billion mock the mocks and, get 10,000 views on each of them. But you guys really do appreciate this. And it gives us an opportunity to talk about guys at 126, 167, 243. But regardless, for this episode, we will be continually looking at our lads as well to be able to peek at the depth chart and have a vision for the future. This is a live mock draft. Let's see how this turns out. So at 25, we have some certain players falling, and I can definitely tell that behind the scenes, they're engineering. Like, this is Trev's board, but they actually have like certain players who are probably going to go higher and lower based on, their predictive analysis. So it's going to be intriguing. We're going to be able to talk to Trev in the next couple weeks, and I'm excited to be able to ask him because I'm pretty damn sure that they have this board, but they also have almost like a predictive board underneath it. So it would be intriguing to be able to talk with him about that. But at number 25, let's look over the roster. Let's see where we need to improve. So quarterback, obviously we're set. We're chilling. Running back, definitely. I thought Dario Ogbonwale ended up being extended. I swear I thought I saw him getting an extension, but not 100% sure about that off the top of my head. But running back still is an issue to be able to be addressed. I don't think it's something that's a priority issue, but it is something that you can definitely figure out. You talk about the tight end room. Dalton Schultz, when at his best, is a really solid player. I've always been a fan of Brevin Jordan, Cade Stover as well. I honestly think you guys are doing pretty fine in the tight end room. As some people say that you could probably try to upgrade there. I don't think it's that pressing of an issue. Offensive line wise, Blake Fisher needs to improve noticeably. It sucks to say it, but simply put, the dude's just not cutting it based on his first year performance, but we kind of all knew that Blake needed some time. I'm hoping that he takes that step up. And then you talk about Laramie Tunsil. When he's healthy, the dude's very, very solid. But again, over his whole entire career, there have been some inconsistencies there, which is why you have guys like Titus Howard who do have tackle flexibility. Ladarius Henderson, who has tackle flexibility. I know he was a 7th round pick, got cut, and I think he ended up being brought back as well. And again, if I make a mistake, guys, please feel free to call me out on it. I'm a fan of all 32 teams. You guys are a fan of one. So it always does help to have that inside info from you guys. And again, apologies about all the damn ads. It is what it is. It looks like American Express is getting plenty of good stuff from me. But was never a fan of Juice Scruggs. Jarrett Patterson, again, we're like talking about one of the most pitiful interior offensive lines in the NFL. And unfortunately, it came to fruition. CJ ended up having a down year, but you add on injuries, but also the offensive line performing poorly. It's a recipe for disaster. You sent a 7th round pick for Christian Kirk, which, when healthy, I honestly think he's going to be a real solid asset. John Mechie, shout out to him. Tank Dell, it's unfortunate. Obviously, 2 freak injuries in a short period of time. Obviously, this most recent one, not necessarily because of his weight or anything or his frame, but it was just shit happens, like random shit happens. Nico Collins is a stud. We're talking, apparently there's some like rumors that Stefon's trying to come back if the money's right. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of like an OBJ situation where I think it's more of a name than a player. Xavier Hutchinson, he's a damn good player in my opinion. He's one of my favorite guys in his draft class, and so I think he's great depth. But I do see that we need to upgrade that wide receiver room, but also the offensive line room needs some help. I think if we can get another guard with that future of being able to fill in that left tackle spot, I think that is where we will be golden. Oh, forgot about talking about damn defense. Look at the defensive side. You got Hunter here and Anderson, one of the best, if not the best edge duo in the NFL, in my opinion. I love them to death. Defensive interior, you definitely need to focus on it, but you guys have done a fantastic job of being able to plug and find really good value in like either late rounds or in free agency. I feel like this is an area where I think it's a little bit over-exaggerated for your need. Linebacker-wise, I honestly think you guys are perfectly fine. Toto, Harris, and Azeez Al-Shaair, as long as Azeez stops going into CTE mode, you're in a good spot. Obviously, you potentially even bring Devin White back, even though he's pretty much like a practice squad guy at the moment. It's crazy to see the fall off. But regardless, as someone who could be a good locker room presence. Devin White was even on the Eagles like leadership council, so to speak. Could be intriguing to see how that would end up working out. Corner wise, Derek Stingley, stud. Kamari Lassiter shows that a 40 time is not everything, so it's worth pumping the brakes a little bit. Looking at that secondary corner position, you could look at Jeff Okudah here. I'm trying to bring him back again, having that cheap contract, but the second line of corners definitely needs to be addressed and have some good value there. Chris Boyd, if I'm not mistaken, he was tweaking out on the sideline, but I also saw some people saying that he was just excited or something. I don't know, but feel free to give some context there. Then at the nickelback, Jalen Pitre was, if I actually ended up doing what I did this year and following what my numerical grading scale would be, Jalen Pitre would have been a top 10 player in that class. Super excited to see that he's an absolute stud, but we do need to look at that third safety spot. Jimmy Ward, Kalen Bullock. Kalen Bullock was one of my favorite players. Last year he was my safety one. You guys did a great job. Your defense is set up for the future. I think you guys have a very bright future ahead. But when you look at the weapons that are available, the offensive linemen that are available, unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to be able to get Emeka Egbuka, who goes at 17. And so this is going to be interesting because at least I don't have to be the dick who does not take Emeka Egbuka and goes after offensive line. With Kelvin Banks, you have the certified future of him potentially being that left tackle. The problem with that is I believe Kelvin Banks, when he measures in 6'5", has over 33-inch arms. It is going to be to the point where Kelvin might be like, why? Like, I don't want to play a couple years at guard, man. I mean, I could wait two or three picks. Well, 2 or 4, I should say. I should have counted before I ended up spewing some garbage. But like 2 or 4 picks, I could be a true tackle there. But you look at someone like Gray Zabel, who I have extremely high. I think he's a blue chip talent in this class, and I don't even like small school prospects. I think he's an absolute stud. You can look at defensive interior as well. We need to address the offensive line, and I do believe it actually might be multiple times. I'm going to go after Gray Zabel here because I love the mobility, I love the ferocity, and I love the story. So, number 57. This is where I'm looking at a wide receiver like Eli Guy-O'Maynor here. I know he has some potential knee concerns, but in the second round, I'm willing, if you have enough players with issues, with injury, knock on wood, of course. Unfortunately, you guys ended up losing the coin toss on this last time, but there's a good chance that at least some of them will be viable and some will be healthy. But regardless, wide receiver is a massive issue. We already addressed the interior of the offensive line. With Guy-O'Maynor slipping, I find it very hard to say no. So I am going to select him there at 57. Just because sometimes you have to take the best player available. At number 89, RJ Harvey's very intriguing. Again, you could end up going after another running back in this class. And again, feel free to say, hey, I would have rather have gone running back here. And probably you'd be right. So I'm not going to fully disagree with you guys in terms of that. I would look at Anthony Belton here. I have him as a legitimate second round player. I love him as a guard. You could have Zabel as a center, Belton as a guard, learning to play that tackle role. And then you actually have a ton of potential there. That's arguably my favorite pick at the moment. But CJ West, man. I mean, I know that I was talking about, hey, plug the defensive interior spot with some good value, yada, yada. But CJ West, I got the pleasure of meeting him in Dallas, the Shrine Bowl. And he was one of the most genuine individuals that I've ever talked to. And, he had zero, he had confidence, but he had a shit ton of humility. No cockiness, that's going to be great because then you add up with the tape and the tape says, hey, I'm an early day 3, late day 2 player. And you add on to it that he's an elite locker room guy because he just looked like he was appreciative of being there. And he made the most of it. He was an absolute stud. He was unstoppable in Dallas here at the Shrine. So I think that that's going to be the best move because I've taken him multiple times, to be fair. But I also don't want to be that guy who continually, I don't think you guys would be drafting multiple interior offensive linemen within the first 3 picks. I think we need to spread, divide and conquer a little bit. So we're going to go after CJ West here at pick number 89. Even though, again, you can snipe some value down the board, I still think that we can end up getting a really good end result here with our start. We got 3 starters in 3 picks. That's a good start. But at number 126, let's see who has fallen to us here, and we can adjust from there. Again, for realism's sake, I will never draft Femi Oladejo apart from the 3rd round. I'll do it 4th round. I don't think that's realistic. Johnny Cornelius actually might be a really good pick here, but you know what? I haven't taken Luke Kandra. Luke Kandra is a really good player. And like I feel like since I'm scrolling down so far, we're going to be in sniping range of some of these guys at 167. We're seeing if maybe we could snipe a defensive back and, get that third safety in that rotation. But it looks like most of them have been sniped from us. You look at Billy Bowman. Billy Bowman's a dog. Like, Billy Bowman's a fucking beast, right? Like, he's a big hitter. Like, you're going to have to deal with some missed tackles with him, but that's because he goes fucking balls to the wall. You know what? I really like Billy Bowman. Do we have a chance of getting Luke Kandra? That's my question. Oh, okay. Well, this is where things get tough because I personally really like the idea of getting that like big hitting third safety that, you're going to grow, you're going to develop, and you can also put them into the slot. I know that Billy Bowman and Luke Kandra are not going to be there. That's what hurts right now because I'm like, fuck, I really want these guys to fall. Like, I really want them to fall. And I don't want to take Miles Frazier, Jackson Slater every single time. Shout out to Jackson Slater, though. He actually might be someone who I'd target. But it's like, you got to choose one or the other. There's no chance that we're going to get both. I wish there were. But what's going to be the bigger issue, that interior of the offensive line or that third safety? I got to admit, it's going to be the interior of the offensive line. I got to protect CJ. I'm an offensive line guy. It's going to break my heart, but, we're going to end up losing out on him. Where did he end up going? Where did our guy end up? Watch him be like the pick before us. That would make me lose my shit. Has he gone? Oh, he did at 156. I was like, no. I was like, no way. He actually fell, but he did not. Billy Bowman, yeah. I mean, breaks my heart, but you just got to do what you got to do. But regardless, here at 167, we could absolutely look at someone like Kyle Monungai as a solid running back here. Robert Longerbeam, he's somebody who's had some fantastic performances this year. 7 forced incompletions, a couple interceptions on the year. I mean, he's had some very, very good reps. So, Baishol Tootin as well, top end speed back. Like, he performed really well. I don't think he's going to slip to this spot after the testing he had. Jalen Lane's very good. Very good. And my only issue is that since you just traded for Christian Kirk and you have John Mechie, it does kind of limit what we could do with him. But our next pick's at 243, so we have to look down the board. And I'm not going to take Zeke Biggers or Dante Thornton. I've done that too many times at this point. Jalen Smith would be super fun as that nickelback / boundary corner. But again, I tried my best not to take someone who I have listed as a top 15 player in the class. Same thing with Mac McWilliams, who is a top 45 player in the class for me. Let's review what we have done. 2 interior offensive line, 1 at center, 1 at guard, defensive interior, and wide receiver. Again, we're doing a good job. That's the bottom line. But I do think we can actually go after that third corner right now. And I like Denzel Burke's value here. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. I like that quite a bit. And then, I mean, on top of that, he's replacing Jeff Okudah, who also Ohio State and did not live up to expectations, but he lived up to expectations until the NFL. This one, at least, we got to get him outside. Ty Robinson was just selected in the most recent mock draft, so I'm going to hold back on selecting him here for us at 243. But regardless, we had some very good players slip to us, and that's kind of the thing here. Dante Trader's great value. Like, honestly, it is a little bit ridiculous that Dante's here. And this is somebody, like, look at that, 21.7 force incompletion rate, very reliable tackler. He's a playmaker. And I actually really like what you guys can get out of Dante Trader as that third safety, kind of being your value version of Kalen Bullock. But looking at how this draft ended up shaking out, did we get 4 starters? We got 4 starters and then 2 guys who are legitimate second-line dudes who can end up getting reps. Gray's able to play center or guard. It just depends on how comfortable you are at the center spot. Along with Luke Kandra, who will be playing guard spot. A lot of people love Luke Kandra. Then we talk about CJ West here to be a true starting every down defensive interior. And then you got Eli Almeida, who somehow slipped to us. We had to do what we had to do. Of course, then we end up getting our corner depth here with Denzel Burke and our third safety here with Dante Trader Jr., who has the Swiss Army knife flexibility to play pretty much in the slot or deep, which I really like. So let me know what you think of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Love you. See you on the far side.